Welcome back again, dear viewers. Un here once again, and I know I've had to say this pretty much every time lately, but sorry that took so long. I had myself a week's vacation in the Great Pacific Northwest, and then my special lady came to visit me for a while, and then I got really sick and couldn't speak for several days, and so on and so forth. So it's been an eventful period, and I hadn't managed to get any recording in, but this is not the time for reflection. This is time to finally get started on the Princess Crown postgame. As you'll probably recall, we have another book here that was left next to Gradriel's story, and we're going to have Grandma read that one to us. This time we're going to be reading the story of Edward. Yes, the Princess Crown postgame is made up of 3 books, each of which is a fairly short, relative to Gradriel's little adventure, starring one of the other characters. And the first of them is Edward's. Oh, I do believe that's a scream. So much for the bald guy. Anyway, we begin with Eduardo here in a cave, with a couple of allies apparently, and it's up to him to fight off the ice dragon here. Pretty big deal for a first enemy. We do start off with some meat so we can increase our max HP a little. Eat bone. Edward controls pretty much the same as Gradriel, but he does have some variation in his fighting style. Attack potion, that seems sensible enough. Can't seem to get his super off. As you can see, he has a sliding low attack, much like Gradriel's, but he delivers 3 weak hits instead of 1 medium strength hit, as Gradriel does. Looks pretty cool. And there's his super. Instead of the Shoryuken, Edward will just thrust his sword at the enemy, and if it connects, he'll sort of drill it into their body. It doesn't have the vertical coverage, but it does have good horizontal range. And just like Gradriel, sometimes he'll shout something before delivering it, and that indicates a critical hit. With the Ice Dragon vanquished, we are back in Cadobado. And we are being told that the Black Dragon may be in Durangora. By the way, I don't have a translation for this, just a basic walkthrough, so I don't really know what much of the dialogue is. I can just give you sort of the outline of what's happening. Anyway, so it seems Edward is seeking the Black Dragon, and now we're going to find out why. It seems Edward went to Heimdall in order to find out what had become of his father, Golgotha. And Heimdall, being the somewhat avaricious dragon that he is, isn't going to help us without a fee. And in order to provide us the information we seek, Heimdall will require the Sun Gem. And it seems the Sun Gem is in the possession of the Black Dragon. So that's why we're after the Black Dragon, and that's going to be our big target for roughly the first half of Edward's quest. And I guess this is showing how Edward got hooked up with his little dragon familiar, Ignis. Although Ignis doesn't talk the way Arya does, he fulfills some of the same roles. Sometimes brings us items or delivers revenge strikes during combat. There is no fairy candy, though, or equivalent, so we won't be powering up Ignis by doing side quests or anything like that. Anyway, as we were told, the Black Dragon may be staying in the area of Durangora, so that is going to be our next destination. And early on, I'm just going to leave in some of these random battles, since we haven't seen Edward fight very much. I really do like the sword-swinging animations on his regular combo. And you see when Edward gains a level, he just kind of raises his sword and poses in a studly way. Not as cute as Gradriel's Yata, but then I guess, depending on your tastes, Edward probably isn't as cute either. Look at the way his combo ends up with that circular swinging. There's no way that should work. I mean, it's bad enough that Edward does a fair amount of one-handing of that sword, but just whipping it around in a circle through a monster like that, the human wrist should not be capable of such things. He should have forearms like Popeye. Ah, well. That's why it's a fantasy game. What's with all the froggers around here? At least they die fast. Finally, some different fodder, I guess. Nothing we can't make short work of, though. Come to think of it, even spinning the sword around sideways like that through a monster shouldn't be possible with nothing but wrist action. Doesn't look quite as ridiculous as the circular rotation thing, though. Pardon me, my words are kind of failing me today. But then if you've been watching me this far, you're used to that, right? Alright, to get to Durangora, we will have to pass through Cemetereth. Where absolutely nothing happens. And we are now on the final stretch of road on the way to Durangora, but we have a few Cemetereth-style enemies here. You can have ghosts and ghouls in this area, just like with Gradriel. One thing about Edward's jumping slash, it's completely horizontal. It has no vertical sweep whatsoever, unlike Gradriel's. But it does have more horizontal range, and I believe it comes out faster. He doesn't seem to hang in the air for a moment before swinging the way Gradriel does. So it has its it has its advantages. Alright, pardon my inventory management. We will continue on our way. Yeah, we've seen enough random battles for the moment. Edward's eating looks weird to me. Unlike Gradriel, he doesn't actually put the food very close to his face. It's like he absorbs it into himself from a distance. But no matter, we have arrived at the village of Durangora. And we need to talk to this guy in green here to learn about where the dragons are roosting. Up there to the north. So we'll make a quick pit stop and then get on our way. Pubs work exactly the same way they did for Gradriel. We can bring raw food and have it cooked or order the special. There's no secret bonus or anything for ordering all the specials in Edward's Quest, so I'm not generally going to bother with them unless I just really need food. Right, onward. Now, there's nothing worth seeing on the way to the Dragon Mountain, so take us out, Cube Wipe. Thank you. And we see Gradriel being menaced. This, by the way, this side adventure is taking place concurrently with Gradriel's story, so we're just seeing some events from a different perspective. And so, once again, we see Gradriel and Edward become acquainted, but we've got another dragon to clean up. Oddly enough, I usually find this one to be a little tougher than the ice dragon that you fight at the beginning. Just seems to be a little more aggressive with its breath weapon and criticals. But we should be able to manage. Yeah, I tried to keep that combo going a little longer than I should have, I think. We always appreciate dragon meat, yes we do. And that should be just about it. A couple more hits. Or perhaps one more hit. And that is that. Alright, we'll speed up the return to Durangora. And here's our friend in green telling us that the town is under attack by dragons. Once again, an event that we saw during Gradriel's story, but we're just seeing it from Edward's point of view this time. Eddie to the rescue. Well, predictably enough, we have to face off against another dragon. Nothing terribly interesting, although I do think I get quite a bit of meat out of this one. Give me that. Oh, backdoored. You can't do that with a super very often. I think Edwards might actually come out a little bit faster than Gradriel's Shoryuken, but I couldn't swear to that. I really hate that gas attack. I don't think we ever saw them do that in Gradriel's game, so I don't know if that's added for Edwards or if they just never happened to do it during the main game. Yeah, this dragon's just dropping chunks of himself all over like it ain't even a thing. Look at it! I'm out of room for meat. Gotta drop a mango and free myself up a little space. Even though these side games are pretty short, we will be getting another bag so we can manage our inventory a little more easily. But for now, we'll just have to make do. It would have been fun to end it with a critical, but no joy. Okay, that's enough. I really don't need another piece of dragon meat at this point. And as we've seen in the past, the Cardo Knights show up to clean up the stragglers. And mother and daughter are reunited, and we have another reunion with Gradriel. And holy shit, it is the Black Dragon. But he cheeses it. So now I am going to cook up an absolute fuck ton of dragon beef and head on back to Cotabato. Yeah, look at how much my max HP is increased. Also, I picked up one of those damage reduction pendants and dropped some E+1 scrolls into it, so that'll be handy to have. Now, back in the soldiers' district of Cotabato, we're going to report to the leader of the soldiers. And he asks us to take down the siren that is menacing the area of Titania Lake. That's down to our southeast there. There's nothing exciting about the trip, so we will cube wipe on over to Titania Lake. And we get magically janked by a barbarian. And it would appear that Edward has been nursed back to health by the siren Undine. You may recall in Gradriel's game, Edward was protecting Undine from the villagers and a gang of bandits who were basically terrorizing her to make her cry so they could harvest her jeweled tears. So here we're just seeing the meeting between the two. This barbarian, I believe, is the leader of the criminals who are menacing Undine. Now that we've learned to deflect his magic, he don't want none, so he's just gonna have his pet spider take a shot at us. Nothing too exciting here. We've certainly seen plenty of tarantulas before. Although this one is very good at not getting hit by meteors. It's not so good at not getting hit by drilling broadsword criticals, though. So, yay for that. Poink! I believe this is where Edward decides he's going to stay in Titania Lake for a while and protect Undine. Talk, 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 talk. Well, since the villains probably won't be back quite so soon, we're gonna take a spin back to Cotabato and report our findings to the boss. I do pause to show off how Edward picks fruit. He doesn't have Gradriel's mad up, so he just does a little flick of his sword and smacks it right off the tree. Pretty classy. Anyway, we're going to report on Undine's innocence to the leader of the Soldier District back in Cotabato. Nothing too exciting there. We now must return to the lake. Not sure what the spacey twinkles are about there. But Gradriel has arrived, and she and Edward have their little martial misunderstanding the same way that we saw in the main game. However, the truth is soon revealed. Well, now that we've got that cleared up, Edward's going to stay behind and guard Undine, while Gradriel heads back to town to try to apprehend that barbarian. And speak of the devil, for a barbarian, this guy's got some magic skills because, in addition to throwing lightning around, it looks like he's also capable of controlling a doppelganger. Looks like we've got some identity shenanigans incoming. Oh, Edward, don't follow her. That's not Gradriel. Yep, it appears we've been duped. The doppelganger was sent to draw us away from Undine, while the barbarian goes to menace her further. Well, we can't ride to the rescue with a doppelganger breathing down our necks, so time for a battle. It's kinda too bad that the doppelganger can't turn into Edward so we could have him fight himself, but oh well. Fighting a fake Gradriel, I suppose, is interesting enough, even if we've done it before. Feed her some electric sword. Seems to do pretty good damage. Oh, and I still got hit. Wow, she can eat Yggdrasil fruit. Thankfully, it's not a full heal for the doppelganger. That would really kind of suck, but no need to worry about that. And that'll do it. Thankfully, it appears the barbarian hasn't done anything too horrible yet. So we're not too late. And we'll have a straight-up fight with him. Nothing too unusual about it. Pretty easy. And that's it already. And here's Gradriel again, and she is reporting that she has brought Undine's tormentors to justice. So that should wrap up that little story arc nice and neat. And so we go our separate ways, and cube wipe on back to Kato Bado. This time, when we report our latest developments to the soldier's leader, he gives us a bag, and also tells us that the Black Dragon has recently been seen on a road between Kato Bado and Nelt. So it looks like we'll be heading toward Nelt next. There we are with our extra bag. Very handy. And I think we've about accomplished enough for the time being. Thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure as always. Next time, perhaps we'll be able to bring Edward's story to a close. Also, I'll be turning an alarming 34 tomorrow, so next time you see me, I'll be a little older, but probably no wiser. Till then, friends, this has been with I Played a Thing, Princess Crown. See you soon.